Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my Oxygen Not Included playthrough. I wanted to start off today's episode with a little bit of base keeping. Right now we've got a whole host of mess going on and a bunch of pipes that I'm not really making use of. And I just want to start by cleaning all that up. So to start things off, last episode we got the automatic dispenser research, which allows us to just deposit items into it and they'll be physically placed in the world. Using this, we can gather up all the material that's scattered around our base and just put it into one little place so it's convenient and easy to grab. So the way I want to do this is I think we're going to start with a 2-tile deep hole right here that we're going to put all of our stuff into. We'll also build our first automatic dispenser. We'll need this later, but we're also going to put down a bottle emptier. This goes back to the principle of if something's going to off-gas but it's submerged, it can't off-gas anymore. So we're going to submerge this whole thing in a little bit of water. That way we can put whatever we want here. We also have just a bunch of liquids scattered around the base that I want to clean up as soon as we can. Another thing too is I did notice a little bit of polluted water got into our tank, which does mean it is starting to spread some unfun food poisoning. However, even though it's at the bottom of this whole tank, if the water you're trying to mop up is small enough, you still can mop it up. So eventually someone will come down here, clear that up, and the bottle will be stuck down here and it can't off-gas. So for this bottle emptier, we're just going to give it water, and we'll enable auto bottles so they can pull straight from here. And then once we got enough, we'll turn it off. So I do actually want to swap this one out with a metal tile. The only reason being is it helps conduct temperature a little better. So I want everything here to be about the same temperature, and metal tile will help with that. One mistake I did make last episode is I accidentally gave Pei both the suit wearing and the exosuit training. The issue being was we want her to be a mechatronics. It's fine for now because we don't have enough skill points. But once we get up to 5 total, we're going to use the skill scrubber and put her on the mechatronics, which she should be on. I think we're going to take one more bottle, and then we'll start storing stuff here. Alright, I think that'll be enough water for now. We can always add more later if we need it. So we're going to set literally all, but it's also sweep only. And it's fine that it's not connected to power. So now whenever I set something to be swept, like for instance these ranches, it should combine and start dunking everything here. We're going to put another automatic dispenser where the bottle emptier is, but we need that removed first. Now that we've started to expand a little more, we've also uncovered a couple more of these geysers. So this one right here is an iron volcano. We can't make use of that just yet, and we probably won't be able to for a little bit, but once we can, that is free refined metal for as long as this save goes on. The other one is up here. You can just barely see it. It's just out of the range to where we can't do that trick to figure out what it is. So we'll have to go up a little bit more if we want to know what. Just going to build a temporary ladder, and when someone gets up high enough to build here, we'll be able to uncover that. Look at that later. One issue we're facing now is that this room is actually getting too crowded. If you remember from before, I was talking about the whole 96 tile thing and whatnot. Well, it's now surpassed that limit. So we're just going to find the oldest one and take care of them. What we typically do is set up a bit of automation, but we don't even have the research for that yet. So we're actually going to go for the incubator, which will be critical in helping us set up or automate more of our ranches. They've just built up a little further, and we're going to go check what this is. Chlorine gas vent. I don't think we're going to end up making really good use of this one. The only purpose of chlorine is to disinfect things, and hopefully we shouldn't really need that. And now they're really making good use of those automatic dispensers. They just come in, they dunk something, and it'll spit it out right here. The only thing we actually probably wouldn't want to be set here is things like eggs. We'd rather those would sit elsewhere. We're also going to clean up their bedrooms. The reason we want to be doing this is all of this stuff on the ground gives us a negative decor. And decor is what's Decor is another way you can increase your duplicate morale. In early bases, it's kind of hard to get a good amount of it, but it's better to try to lessen the blow of bad decor than it is to boost good decor. I think next we're actually going to finally get rid of all of these mealwood boxes and switch them out for bristles. We're just going to do this all in one go because we have a decent supply of food right now, and we should have enough time to get our other farm tiles set up. We've got another printable. I think we're just going to take this oxalite here. We really don't want to be taking on more dupes than we need. 8, I think, is the maximum I'm willing to go for now. And the reason that is once we start getting onto electrolyzers, these produce enough oxygen for about 8 dupes, if they're running at all times. We do have Nicola with the deep diver's lungs, which will make it a little better. Also need to set up some more lights. Because of the way they dug it out, we'll have to do this in some steps, so they can get all the way over and keep planting more. We're going to hook these up to a separate circuit, just since these lights are closer to this wire. That might make it good, though, since in case if one circuit goes down, we still have the other, keeping our other section of food growing. I think we're also going to research up to liquid tuning, so we can get the improved plumbing with the liquid reservoirs and the insulated pipes. I think those would have solved their whole bathroom crisis earlier, so I want to get them now. And I'll just copy the settings, and they should plant the rest of these bristle blossoms. I think the next thing I'd like to do is actually start cracking into this cool slush geyser. Really what I want to get into is metal refinery, but if we have a constant source of cool liquid, that basically means we can have an early metal refinery. The only issue right now is trying to get past this little water pocket, so I think for now we'll just sidestep the whole thing and just come straight up. Also, since we have the research for it, I think now is a good time to set up a metal pole in base, or a fire pole. All this does is just make the duplicate descent really fast. The ascent's really slow, but possible. It's good to have both, the ladders for the ascent and the fire pole for the descent. We're already having issues with long commutes. We're already at 47, so this should help us keep that time down, even just a little bit. I just found this on the top left of our base, this ancient specimen. There's actually another one here too, but I did then see this, and this really scares me. I've never had the misfortune of dealing with a spore kid before. All I know is that the zombie spore that you get from it is catastrophic for your dupes. So we are not going to touch this until we get Atmos suits. With these bristle blossoms, I do want to make use of the farm station, which allows you to use fertilizer in a greenhouse, which means we're going to end up turning this into a room. But when it's used, it doubles the growth speed. So it's essentially like we have 2 more of these. I think that'd be great to get set up right now. And we'll just put another door on this side so they can get out from both ways. So when it comes to excavating any kinds of these geysers, volcanoes, whatnot, the only tile you need to leave covered is this one. This is true for every single geyser, volcano, and vent. It's 1 over and 2 up from this bottom left. There's also a ton of ore over here, so I just want to build over so they can start mining it out. This is a fun issue too when they start throwing food on the floor. I don't know how, but a single mulewood has somehow snuck its way into our farm. When possible, and I feel a little more confident to dig this out, I do want to set up the mushroom farm down here. It needs a carbon dioxide atmosphere to grow in. So, since this is the bottom of our base, I think that would be a perfect spot for it. The only issue being all this fun slime that's in the way. I could just go to town at it, dig it out, and worry about the slime lung later, which, if my patience wanes, I might. But for now, it stays. I think here, I do want to set up an airlock, that way we don't lose too many gases to up here. It'll also prevent these Drekos from getting out. I just kind of want to leave them up there for now. We did just get another printable, so this actually kind of hurts me a little. I think the next dupe I would want would be another builder digger, just to help out with the harder digs that not every dupe can do. And this one starts with a tier 2 breathing skill, but they're also a mouth breather, which means I'd need even more oxygen to be produced to counteract for them. This one's also not bad either, but the traits he has aren't the ones I'm terribly interested in. I think I know what's happening. It's this guy. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. I think he's about to be turned into food. He's causing me too many problems. If he wanted to stay, he shouldn't have been such a nuisance. I think while they're working, now's kind of a good time to talk about why I like playing this game. I don't know, for you viewers, I don't know if you're also playing or if you just like to watch people play the game. But I always have a great time trying to solve this giant problem that this game is. If you just break it down to a bunch of little steps, it's a lot of little steps, but eventually you'll get there. Another thing we have to be careful of is to not take on any allergic dupes. Since we're growing these bristle blossoms in our base, now our base is going to be covered with this floral scent, which actually is a pretty positive thing for us. You can only have one kind of germ on a tile at once, and floral scent is considered a gem, so if we did flood our base with this floral scent, slime lung wouldn't be an issue at all. I did just notice our base is actually running out of oxygen. I thought this was just a fluke. I guess they're not delivering to these. We need to really ramp these up. Also in the research, I think now we're at the point where we can just start getting stuff and it doesn't really matter what it is. I think we're just going to go down the list. So in order to do so, we'll need to create some space for our bottle emptiers. We're also going to get into cleaning up some of these random pipes that are just scattered around. Those still do have liquid in them, so I'll leave them for now. Because if we were to break them, all this liquid would just spill out up here. We can empty this out, and our bottle emptiers. Now there's a whole bunch of different ways to make a water lock. This probably takes the least amount of water. For an early game water lock anyways. We do know a few skill points we can give out, so I'm going to give Ari the super ring. For Devin, I think we're going to go on the same route. He's not really interested in anything else. Leroy will get ranching too. And for Nickel, we're also going to go for the improved carrying. I didn't even notice we actually have 2 of these chlorine gas vents. That's kind of a shame. Who knows? Maybe I might find some use for them. Yeah, so this is active right now. Thankfully, we do have this blocked. Of all the things to unblock, this would probably be the least of the issues. Since the ice would be really nice. It's polluted water. I think before we crack this open, we'd want to set up the relevant infrastructure. Such as like a pipe and a sieve and all of that. I think eventually we're going to end up using this geyser for our base cooling. But that'll be when we actually start warming up our base significantly. Right now it's still relatively cool. This coal generator is making it worse, but it's acting so slowly where it's almost negligible. I think we need to set up some airflow tiles since all this is kind of stuck around here. Just a few. I think next we're just going to go all the way for this brackine flow, and it'll get everything under it. The natural gas generator will be good, but we have to find a natural gas vent first. We're also going to set these ladders up here so they have another chance to go up and down. We'll get rid of these ones. Keep it a little cleaner. One thing you do have to be careful of is if you're trying, like let's say I did come through and just deconstruct this, it would also queue up the wire behind it to be deconstructed. So we have things that overlap, just make sure you're selecting only the one thing you want to be destroyed. And now that we've started sweeping up some stuff, the decor around the base is getting a little better. This area is still a little bad, but they'll get to it eventually. I think I am going to be bold and start digging up some of this slime. Because first off, because the abyssalite broke on this biome, it's starting to leak out that heat into this area, which I really don't want. I want to come in and just seal that off, which will also get us down here. I think I am going to try setting up our mushroom farm, at least in some form. I think, though, while I am doing that, I do want to set up some deodorizers to help keep this area a little cleaner. I think we're just going to set up 2 like this. I think it'd be better to put them one more apart. chuck them up to the nearest line. I can get to it. There we go. We'll put that a little higher priority. Over here we do need to set up our liquid lock as well. We'll put auto bottle. I'm going to throw these on a really high priority. The sooner we get this locked in, we'll stop losing our oxygen out here. We're not losing much, if any, but it's also to prevent all the other stuff from coming in. In the meantime, we'll also set up this. Take that out. We'll leave that tile for now, actually. No, it's getting too cold for it. Put this on a little lower priority. I'm not too worried about all this. I'd rather get this shell set up, actually. I think we're going to go with the snazzy suit. That's just free decor. And we'll give that to someone who runs around a lot. We'll give it to Pei. So we just need enough water in here where, when settled, this whole area becomes water tiles, just like this. It's still settling, so this isn't enough for now. Actually, I think it is. We'll take one more bottle. Just give it a little more volume. Once that's drained, we'll just knock it off and get rid of these for now. So because this water's here, no gas can get through. So everything that's on this side will stay on this side, and everything on this side will stay on this side. What do you need water for? Oh, for the research. That makes sense. We're actually no longer having long commutes, and I'm wondering if this is the cause, since now they don't have to run all the way over for their stuff and they can just come here. With this, I do want to just crack into it. Actually, I don't want to break that just yet. If we can purify this out, that'll mean the slime doesn't really have anywhere to go with its slime lung, and we'll keep these on a high priority. We want to make sure these always have sand. So it is lighter than the carbon dioxide, so this should all eventually flow up and out. This is actually a really dense pocket of gas, so it is just erupting out. The deodorizers actually can't keep up. Trying to catch as much as they can, but a ton of it's slipping by. Hopefully when it settles, they'll flow back into the ear. That's a big hope. And this is exactly why we don't want to mess with the slime, because this stuff will get everywhere if you're not careful. I think we are going to dig this up as well, just as another avenue out. Leaving as much of that slime intact as possible. I think, though, that is enough for today, and I will see you guys next time.